Hey, good Friday, everybody. Good Friday. Welcome to another collaboration, our Friday night collaborations between Matter of Opinion and Hold Up, Hear Me Out, though. How's everybody doing this evening?
How are
Doing real
you?
good, man. How
Okay,
you guys
okay,
doing?
yeah, man. Not too bad, not too bad, not too bad. But we got some depressing news, which we're gonna definitely get into. But yeah, man. Tonight's live is gonna be dedicated to um the Godfather, Kevin Samuels, who, unfortunately lost his life. Um, and a lot of his detractors, man, are being very disrespectful, and I have an issue with that. So we're gonna get into this, and after we cover the whole, Kevin Samuels passing, everything like that. We got some other top videos that we're gonna do walkthroughs to and give our opinion on. But yeah, man, we're definitely gonna make this Friday, about the Godfather, Kevin Samuels. So those who are tuning in, we appreciate you guys tuning in with us. On a Friday night, you could be doing anything else, but you're here with us. And again, this is every Friday night, the collaboration between Hold Up, Hear Me Out, though, and Matter of Opinion, 8:15 every Friday. Now, I just want to say, Rex, I don't know if June connected Hold Up Hear Me Out's channel to it. I sent it to him, but I don't think he connected it. So what I'll do is at the end of the live, I'll send him the file and y'all just upload it on Hold Up Hear Me Out though. Cool.
All right, good.
All
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
bet. Yeah, yeah. All right. So with that being said, those who are tuning in from Facebook or Twitter, definitely check us out on YouTube. Hold Up, Hear Me Out, though, and Matter of Opinion. Definitely show that support, show that love. And hey, if you're in the room, say hello in the chat area so we can, acknowledge you, give you a shout out, and go from there. So, with that being said, Kevin Samuels, rest in peace. What was your take, Rex, on, when you first heard of him passing and everything like that? We got a Facebook user. Hold on, before you go on, we got a Facebook user. It just say Facebook user on here, so I don't know who that is, but hey, thanks for tuning into the live stream. We appreciate it. If you can, definitely check us out on YouTube to show that support and help the channel grow and share it amongst your social media platforms. Help us out. All right, go ahead, Rex.
Um, Bruh, it almost seemed at first I was in denial.
Okay.
I was where was I? I was at home.
Hmm.
Um, just getting a quick bite in between working. And then my cousin calls me. We're talking, then he tells me that his brother told him that um, something may have happened to Kevin,
Okay.
and I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Oh, he might have passed." I'm like, "Bro, that's BS." I'm like, "I'm not buying that." So then I'm like, man, these guys just big mad at the homies. It's
Yo,
like talking about his
I don't want to cut you off, but yo, word is born. That's the same like thought process I had because I was like, yo, when they said he died, I was like, it gotta be somebody trolling, just casting aspersions on this man's character, so to speak. Like who would suit to that low to say the man's dead? But yeah, go on. Yeah, Rex, you there, brother? I think he's frozen.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can
Go
you
ahead.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Uh, yeah, yeah, same. I thought it was somebody trolling. I was like, wow, now you guys are talking about the man's death like he's dead. Like
Hmm.
you guys taking it too far, man. Like, come on, it can't be that serious. So I disregard it. Then maybe honestly, maybe an hour later, my next cousin from Florida hits me up, says the exact same thing, and I'm like, what? was like, hold on, hold. Now I'm like, that's two people tell me that now. Again,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, not buying the rumors, but I'm like, let me just go on IG real quick, go on the search thing and see if I see anything pop up on Kevin. I see nothing. So I'm like, so it's Cap. Then I hear it a third time um, from somebody, and I was like, oh no, nah, okay. So I was like, so there's a couple of people that I follow that he's friends with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One of them being a gentleman. He's from the
I think he froze. Think he froze. Okay. But like he was saying, when I first heard it, I honestly thought that people were trolling because I was getting a lot of like things from Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of this, and especially on YouTube, people were live streaming saying, Kevin Samuels passed away. And as much as people were saying it, every article I went to was saying not confirmed. So for me, I'm like, yo, I'm not putting out anything unless they tell me that it's confirmed. All right, there go Rex. Let's put him back in.
Yeah, my fault. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, got you.
Yeah.
But
All right.
I'm gonna let you chime in. I'm gonna let you chime in a second. But
Yeah, no
yeah,
problem.
for me, I was just like, until I see something confirmed, I'm not going to put anything out there or have any speculations that the man is dead.
Mm.
So even though it was all through Twitter, even though people were saying it, I still had it in my heart of hearts, like, yo, people are trolling this man. And the
Mhm.
comment we're gonna get into to that later, the comments and everything that people were saying, like, oh like, yo, the disrespect. But yeah, go ahead, Rex.
Uh, yeah. So, um, sorry, y'all. I just had to switch it
Yeah, it's all good.
my
From
laptop to my
your
phone.
phone.
But yeah, so again, I'm thinking like this is just trolling, but now I'm hearing it from three different people. So one of the people uh, that I know that Kevin's it talks to pretty often. He's from the Lapeef Network. His name's Anton Daniels.
Okay.
So I went and I follow him on the gram. So I went on his page to see like if this is confirmed. So I see he posted something in his stories. So his first post was uh, he doesn't believe in rumors and
Mm-hmm.
he's going to check to see if this is true. So I'm like, okay, so he heard this too, and he's thinking the same thing. This is Cap. Then then the second post he put up in his story, then he writes R.I.P. Kevin Samuels, and he's writing all this. I'm like, what? I'm
Wow,
like,
yeah.
oh wow, so it is true. And bro, I was like, wow, what is this? Like, I was like, no way, impossible. Like, I just caught the last 10 minutes of his live the night before, like just a quick 10 minutes of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, just before I was about to go to sleep, and I was like, all right, I was like, maybe I'll just catch because I don't watch him like too often. Well,
Religious.
once in a while, if I can catch him, like I'll be like, all right, if I can't watch a live like right then I'll just watch it later on, right? So I was like, all right, I'll just cut a little 10 minutes. I'll catch up on the thing later on. Probably the next day or whatever. And then the next day, the day of, earlier that day, I was listening to one of his older ones where it was the one where he said like the children or the woman belongs to the man,
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
and the children belong to the women,
Uh-huh.
and the men belong to God. And he's like, we report up and stuff. So I'm like, yeah, I remember watching this live. I'm like the whole thing. And then all of a sudden later on that day, same day, I'm hearing this man passes away, and I'm like, impossible, like impossible. It was unreal. I was in denial for like a while, a
You know what?
while.
What's crazy is last night we did a live. Definitely check it out on Matter of Opinion, a live a debate on who's the GOAT, Jordan versus
Oh, I
LeBron.
caught that a little bit. I
Yeah,
caught that a little bit.
definitely check it out.
Hmm.
That was a long live, but yeah, it was
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
During that live, towards the end,
Hmm.
we brought up Kevin Samuels because that at that time the rumors were running rampant,
Hmm.
and I promise you, we was like, yo, with this live, like we was like, I hope to get the alert on Instagram saying the Godfather is live. Like that's what I like. Everybody I know was waiting to see. Like, let me see if he goes live on because he goes lives every Tuesday night and Thursday night. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So
So,
even today, it was like, yo, I want to see if the live is gonna show up Friday night, Kevin Samuels. You get what I'm saying? So
bro, me
it's
too, bro. I thought the same thing. I was,
the disbelief is like bananas, yo.
yeah.
Now, Erica P, I definitely want to get perspective. Like, I know you probably like, yeah, I didn't feel much about his passing or anything, like, but when you heard the news, how did it take you?
To be honest, I thought it was a rumor. So I did like most people. I went research it online. I'm like, oh, nothing came up. All right, let me give it some time. And then when I started looking earlier today, and then I'm like, oh wow, his mom found out what happened off of online. Like she didn't even get the phone call first. It's like, hey, she saw the rumor mill going before she actually confirmed or denied it. Like, this is really interesting. Like, people don't even allow the families to get the information first at this point. It's like, okay,
Hold up, she's
so
frozen.
who
Oh,
leaked this info?
okay, she's
I,
Yeah.
freezing.
yeah,
Yeah,
for some
I
reason
can't
it
hear
just
at
said that
all. I'm gonna
it's
All
try
right,
to
yeah,
take a
go ahead. You're good. Go ahead.
okay. It for some reason it just
Yeah,
cut
go
out on
ahead.
me real fast. But in general, like I'm like, how does somebody's mom don't even get they don't even get to her first? It's like she found out online like everybody else did before she could even confirm it. Like that is and the second thing just going through the information, I'm like, is this really true? Like at first, you look in the same day, it's like, all right, nothing's coming up. You look a few hours later and it's like it's flooded everywhere. But everybody keeps saying it's not confirmed, it's not confirmed, it's not confirmed.
Because you was pretty much looking for major media outlets to see,
Correct.
right?
And that's what it
Exactly.
was. I was looking for major
Mhm.
media network, the networks. I was looking for the news in Atlanta because I could tap in online to news in Atlanta. So I'm checking news in
Hmm.
Atlanta, trying to see, if the information came. Of course, you go on media takeout, and what happens?
Yeah,
They
man.
have the
Like
police report. It's like the police report is out there
exactly.
already. Like it was a matter of a few hours. I'm like, in a few hours, they definitely had the
Facts.
police report. Like, oh, we had the 911 operator information and everything. I'm like, that is crazy how, everybody jumps on social media first. Information that fast because it's not like you still got to wait for the ME report. These are not things that are or readily available. Hey, he's gone. Like, what's the next profile? Because I feel like at this point, it's like everybody's timeline is getting flooded about this, either good or
And here's my thing too. Like, there's the part that rubbed me the wrong way about because the disrespect that was going on. Like yesterday, early in the day when the news first broke, I forgot whose YouTube live stream I was watching while I was at work, and the people in the live were like, "Oh, he was caught with a man in the apartment. Oh, he OD'd on bad coke with fentanyl. Um, he had a D in his mouth. All this disrespect." And then people was talking good riddance, ha ha, get rid of him. All like this negative, negative like I don't want to say context, but all these negative things that they were saying at a man that lost his life. Like, yo, what the hell kind of a world we're living in where you're gonna rejoice in somebody losing their life? Like, aside from you not believing like their beliefs or whatever it is they may believe in or whatever the case, you're gonna sit there and disrespect this man when he's dead. Imagine if that was your son. Imagine if that was your mother. Imagine if that was your brother. Imagine if that was somebody close to you, your loved one. Would you want somebody spitting that same vitriol? You have people that are known felons, right? That they pretty much resisting arrest, all this other stuff. And when they do that and they wind up getting killed by law enforcement, you got people coming to the defense of these people. This is a man who partake partook in none of that. He partook in none of that, and you still giving all this vitriol, all this hate rhetoric towards this man. Like, yeah, I I know you had stuff to say on to say on it, Rex. Like, what's your take on all the negative comments that people were saying in light of this man being dead?
Bro, it was sick. It was sick. I was like, I was like, the fact that certain people had such negative things to say on someone that died,
Hmm.
completely ignoring the fact that he's got a family, he's got his daughter, like loved ones that care about him, and all that because the man had an opinion. All you had to do was shut the F up. You didn't have to say anything negative. And what I was hearing and reading in these comments, like there was one chick said that a guy was, talked about it more on YouTube. One one chick said that she wasn't happy that he passed, but relieved. Relieved. I was like, what world do I live in right now?
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
is this
yeah,
real? This
yeah.
can't be real. For just because the man had an opinion that you did not agree on. Wow, that's how low y'all stooped. And it's like, and the ones that, mad about what he had to say and all that. And I'm just there like, y'all proving him right. Look,
Exactly.
you're proving the man right. Yeah, I mean, dang. Like, it was an all time low. I just never seen anything like that before. June, what is
Sorry to
popping?
announce it late, but yeah, June was able to make it. June was able to make it. What's going on, brother?
Good evening. How y'all doing?
Yeah, not too
Good
bad, man. Not
man.
too
Hey,
bad. Here,
My
like
co-host. What's up, Florida?
yeah, exactly. The second half of hold up, hear me out though. Here's my thing, right? It's crazy because even a lot of the women who didn't agree, like who what he was saying didn't apply to them, were still
Hmm.
giving him backlash. It's like if somebody is saying something, put it like this. If somebody is saying like, yo, these thugs are doing this, whatever, because somebody's out killing somebody or whatever, like something like that, for me, it's not gonna apply to me.
Hmm.
The reason why it's not gonna apply to me is because for me, I'm like, that's not me. So if it's not me, why am I gonna, why am I gonna have any thought about it, so to speak? You get what I'm saying? So why are these women having
Yep.
vitriol about what this man is saying, so to speak? I would love to hear. I'll let you chime in, June, but I want to hear your take on this, Erica P. Like, why do you believe? Like, why do you think the women have vitriol, and how do you feel about the disrespect that people were saying towards this man?
all right. So women are going to come across one of two ways. They're either going to listen to this information and be like, oh, okay, let me women, the ones that you call into a show that are basically looking for answers, but then disrespectful when it happens. That is like, what were you really calling his show for? Like, were you really calling his platform you out just for
Thank you.
him to really just go his episode? The people that are
Hmm.
had listened to him before, so you already
Hmm.
know the kind of questions because he asks everybody the same set of questions.
Hmm.
So, do you think by you calling, it's going to get a different response out of him? Like, there's no way. But say, me as a woman, yes. Did I listen to a couple of his episodes? Of course. Do I look and go, oh, these the same type of chicks that I be the saw out on the street and be like, you know what? People ain't gonna pay you no mind anyway. So it's like you go on his platform going, okay, let me get the exposure. But then it's like you also go on his platform to badmouth him. Why are you calling my show just to go off on me? That is a problem. And I feel like people are
Mm.
entitled at this point, and you see the people that go on his show. I feel like you're just going in with unrealistic expectations. These are questions a lot of times men or other females are not asking them. So once they start getting asked those hard questions and you're trying to quantify either the dollar amount that you need to make or the clothes size that you wear, or when he's telling you, hey, if you're looking for that top 5 or top 10 percentile man, he's looking for these qualifications. And if you don't have those qualifications, then you're looking going, well, what does he mean? Or he exactly how I am. And it's like, no, you can't do that either. You're talking to somebody who was in that caliber, who had friends that were having those open conversations with him. So if he is in that caliber having them conversations, why are you coming across like, well, I don't want to change, I don't want to learn? So no, you gonna get the PhD and the hee haws and all of the other rhetoric that he was gonna do on his show because you weren't calling him to actively listen. You were calling him for him to go off.
Here's one thing before you go, June. Here's one thing I want to point out. Right, you have women that are giving vitriol because they believe that they deserve, like they're entitled to a high caliber or the top 10% of men, like 6-figure earners.
Mhm.
That's fine and dandy, but let's look at how this breaks down. Women, the population of women doubles men, right? So now you wanna date a black man. So now you got to black men are what, 20, like we're 20% of the population or something like that. Is that correct? About twenty
Believe so,
percent of the
yeah.
population.
But yeah, some or
About
is it are you
about
talking black people and men or
black
like
people in
black people?
general. Black people in general. We're about twenty
I
percent
think
of the population, right? So
I think
you
it's
have
less than that. I think it's less.
we'll just go with 20%, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you have women that doubles men as far as the population. So now you got to take the men population and take 20% of that. Now when you have 20% of those men that are black men, now you got to separate the men that are the high earners and the men that are, average earners. So let's just chop that in half. We know it's theoretically chopped down in half. So now that 20% is down to 10%. Now you got to sit down and take away the men who are gay, the men who are incarcerated. So now you're looking at 5%. And then you got to look at black women aren't the only race that are looking at these men. So now you have 100% of the population of women that are looking for 5% of men that are black men. And don't even try to factor for you to meet these men, they have to live in your surrounding area.
Mhm.
So now you dwindle that to about 2%. So you're putting your relationship or your marriage goals on hold for a 2% chance of finding this caliber of a man.
Mhm.
I could
And somebody
wish
put in the comments. Sorry, I mean to cut you off. Someone put in the comments. It's we're 13% of the
13%.
population.
See
Yeah,
that's even less. You get what I'm
That's
saying?
mad
So
little.
yeah,
mad
so
low.
you're putting your hope on I could just because I hope I win the lottery, I'm not gonna sit and put working and trying to build my financial freedom on hold because I have the aspirations I'm gonna win the lottery.
Hmm.
You get what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
I digress. June, speak your piece on how you felt when you heard that he died, the disrespect that you hear, from people saying about his death and stuff like that. I love to
I
hear
was
your
a
take.
little, I was a little surprised.
Yeah.
People, I wasn't shocked, but I was surprised that they were talking trash. That video you made, that one guy who who had all the negative comments. It was like, wow, if
Hmm.
this guy's really dead, you're really doing this. I don't know. That was weird to me. But I think like with the women that feel that way, I don't think you can say anything that'll change their mind. I think they
Hmm.
don't want to hear the truth. Though there are women that understand what he's saying. They're like, you know what? He's right. The guys do think like that. But there are the women that just don't want to hear it. And I think those women, you can't, since you can't change them, don't even try to change it. Like what they don't understand is something you said. The fact that he died and they're talking trash, it's gonna be bad. And the war between men and women is gonna be terrible because
Hmm.
guys are gonna come hard. But it was
On
it was
his
just it was just weird. It was just weird that they was ripping them, but it was like, wow, they really did it. It was just
And
weird.
yo, that was one of the main things I said in the video I made earlier on Matter of Opinion. For those who didn't see it, go check it out. That I was talking about, the word going around about Kevin Samuels' death. Um, a lot of them think that this manosphere is gonna stop with Kevin Samuels, but it's been
No.
going on for the longest. It's just Kevin Samuels blew up on a bigger platform. And here's the thing: people don't realize he was getting on men before he got on women. I got the
Mm-hmm.
video queued up. This is how hard he was going on men, and men ate it up and was like, "Yo, I gotta find a way to improve myself." So
Yeah.
let's get
Mm-hmm.
into this. Let's get into
Mm.
this. All
Oh
right.
yes,
Huh?
You have a big
I
dick.
remember this.
I mean, it's above, huh?
You have a big dick.
I mean, it's above average. I ain't no Ron Jeremy
No,
or
no, no,
nothing.
no, no, no. I asked you if you had a big dick. I didn't say it was above average.
I don't know what that is, really.
Nigga, you know if you got a big dick or not. Stop the bullshit. Every dude know whether or not he got a big dick. I know I got a big dick. You don't know?
I mean,
You don't have a big dick. That's the point. You don't have a big dick. You don't have a big wallet. You're a fat dude. And you got a lot of nerve thinking you should get choosing singles at 5'10" and 300 pounds, making less than $1,000 a month at 20 years old. And women should approach you. What they get, they don't even get a big dick.
Oh wow. I didn't see
Bro,
that.
You see what I'm
telling
saying?
you,
huh?
he went hard on
Men
the man, bro.
and
But he
men
did it
and,
for 3 years.
and men
He
were
did.
like men went. And the thing is, that guy, he literally went to step his game up, get a better career, lose weight,
Mm-hmm.
and you get what I'm saying. He took that
Yeah.
advice and was like, "Yo, I'm a better myself."
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's no reasoning. There's no reasoning with a lot of women. But I see you want to say something, Erica P. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of times women don't pay attention to what's right in front of them. And I'm gonna say that I have that fault sometimes too. I may actively not hear what you're saying. Because if you like, and I don't know, maybe it's the fact that women think on emotion sometimes. Maybe it's the fact that, if they're not open to listen, they're not going to hear anything. It don't matter how many times somebody tells them. Once it
Mm-hmm.
get into that woman's mind, yo, this is something that I got to go fix, or this is something I got to go do, then that's when you start actively seeking out, how do I do this? You have to remember that, like, and I'm blaming it on modern women. And the reason I'm gonna tell you this is, if you blame it on modern women, they're the only group of women that who look at the fact that they don't need men right now to
Mm-hmm.
get their lives together. And I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm not saying this to just bad mouth women in general. It's just the fact that I have not seen any other class of women, you know, in my lifespan. That means you're talking, I've seen people that were born in the 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, because you're looking at your aunts, your grandmas, your moms at this point. So I don't see where any of them, if you ask them questions or you start talking to them about change, and they're not adapting to their surroundings. I feel
Oh,
like, yes, the women of this generation, and I'm gonna say the ones that are 21 and over, because I don't want to put kids in the mix, but the ones that
mhm.
are 21 and over that grew up with all of the technology in the world, with all of the education in the world, sometimes they don't realize some of the common knowledge stuff. Book knowledge is great, but common sense sometimes is a little bit better. And if
Here's a
you,
question I
you
have for
know,
you. Here's a question I have for you. If you were to give modern women advice of what they should do in order to, you know, make better decisions as far as like their men or that road to getting married, what advice would you give them? And for those who are viewing, you want to show them your qualifications on why people should listen to you.
okay, so the biggest
Show them
thing
your
that
qualifications first. What do everybody say when they hear a woman talking?
All right, so my qualifications. You want to know what it is? I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I also have a degree in business. I'm gonna throw it all out there because do I feel like women can have it all at one point? I do, but I also feel like there's no standard time to have all of this stuff done. If you're telling me my prime years are between 19 and 35 to have a kid, you already know that time is going to be jam packed with everything you're trying to do. So I'm going to tell you, look, if you want to go to
Hmm.
school and have a husband and have kids, is it going to be easy? No. But like anytime you want something, you have to work for it. I can work for my degree and be awesome at that. But I also have to multitask. I can't just be focused on one lane and continue going down that one lane and not think about everything else. Because the minute I think about one thing and not going through everything else, guess what happens? Something is going to be on the background. If I put education first, that means if I didn't finish school like most college kids that get out of school at 18 and finish by 21, you got all your prime years right there because you done at 21. But if taking the long road out and you're not finishing school until you're in your 30s, that's something completely
I hear you, Case. I
Yeah,
Yep.
different. Because if
yeah.
our kids and do all
She,
of that before 35 or before do the thing, can I still do the getting married thing? And it's like sometimes some of these women and they don't think about it or they put that person in friend category and it's like no, you can't always think it's on your time. You have to make sure that you're working on everybody's time. And the reason I say everybody's time is you already know you can only have kids for a certain amount of time frame.
Oh
When you
well.
start dating, you're doing that in a reasonable time too.
hold on.
Mm.
Rex want to say something.
I was gonna say, I again, I don't want to make it seem like I'm attacking women and stuff. Like,
Nah,
I get, it, especially for the women that um, you came from single homes. It's like, listen, or like you came from maybe a two parent home, but the dad wasn't really involved in what was going on in the in the family household. Like your mom told you, like focus on your education, don't worry about dudes. You know what I mean? And then focus on your career, and then after you get all that done, then you can focus on getting a man. And so, it's like y'all been told this by someone you trust the most, your
but
mom.
but
So it's
here's
But
the thing, Rex. Here's the thing, though.
Mhm.
That's a disservice that that woman is doing to her child.
Oh yeah.
Agreed,
Because
agreed. I'm
because
just I'm
be,
just putting that out there, but
no,
I
I
agree,
know
100%.
because here's the thing. Just because I experience bad experiences with women, I'm
Hmm.
not gonna teach my son, yo, don't trust women because they're all bad. Focus on it. No, I'm not gonna preach that to him. I'm gonna be like,
Hmm.
yo, do what you gotta do. Because the main thing that men teach their kids is don't chase the woman, chase money. The women will come when you get the money. But we're not saying you don't need a woman. You get what I'm saying? Like we
Exactly.
we are not saying you don't need a woman. We make sure guys that we need each other. That's what we emphasize on. So with that
Agreed.
being said, women are doing them a big disservice when they're saying, go get your degree and everything like that. But at the end of the day, you're supposed to look for the like what's better for your what's better for your child, the best course of action for your child. You're supposed to guide them. You get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So that's why I'm like,
Yep.
mm. But Erica P, you was
I
gonna say
no,
something. Oh, go ahead,
yeah, go
Rex.
ahead. No,
Erica P.
like I agree. I agree. It's you know, we're not saying don't focus on your education or career, but it's like don't tell them to not focus on dudes. It's like exactly, you're doing them a disservice. That's bound to happen, especially like in their prime years. Like you want them to not focus, and let's be serious, that's all on their mind too. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
you're gonna tell them not to do it? That's crazy. It's you know what I mean? So it's like it,
Okay.
and then again, also, sorry, Erica, real quick. Also, so not only they're doing a disservice, but now you're telling them, and mind you, majority would like to have children. So now you're telling them to, we spoke about this before, to wait till you're in your 30s where geriatric pregnancy comes in and you risk your womb. You want them to wait then? How does that make sense? That makes absolute no sense whatsoever. It's backwards actually. You're leading them to doom, like to failure. Like it makes no sense to me. I never understood that. But
Correct.
sorry,
And
Erica, go ahead. I didn't.
then that's what I was going to say. Well, on the females in your life. When you have females that are in
Hmm.
these women's lives that are giving them the information and they're telling you, "Hey, these are my failures. This is what worked." That's one thing. But you have to remember, a lot of times these women are in competition with their kids, which to
That's
me is a
crazy.
problem. I
That's
feel
very
like if
true.
you grew up
Hmm.
in a two-parent household, those females come out a little bit differently. Their mindset is
Hmm.
different compared to
Hmm.
somebody who grew up in a single parent household, or if you grew up with young parents and things like that, because like you have to look at those dynamics too. It's not always a, hey, I grew up in a two parent household and this is what I want to do. You get
Hmm.
a whole different vast of different women around you, and not always do they have them conversations. Like I can remember growing up, yes, I had two parents in my household, so I knew I aspired to be a wife, a mother. Those are things that I saw growing up. My grandparents were married over 50 years. You're talking on both
Oh.
sides of my family. So all you saw was generations of married people, that you went to family reunions
Hmm.
and saw other married couples. So I'm like, if those are things that I grew up with, that's what I'm gonna have in the back of my mind. You're supposed to be married with kids, with the house. It might not always be the white picket fence and in the area that you want, but those are all things, the generations before me had. So in the back of my mind, I wanted what they had and more. So no, you're not going to see me trying to be that person going, "Hey, I don't need a man to." No, you need a man to do that stuff. It doesn't matter how much education or how much of a job that I have. I can't do that stuff by myself. For
Hmm.
me, yes, can I
Okay,
raise a kid on my own? Probably,
let me
but I can't.
interject real quick. Let me interject real quick. See, I think one of the biggest problems is, and I think this is goes on with a lot of men and women nowadays. I think when it comes to their kids, they try and make their children their friends as opposed to
Yeah.
being the parent.
Yes, hundred
Yeah.
You
percent,
not you Your child is not your friend. Your
hundred
job is
percent.
to guide that child, and that's where the competition comes into play, because you in
Hmm.
competition with your friends. You're not in competition with your kids. I see
Exactly.
videos of, like, mothers and daughters grown too, like the mother's in the 50 and the daughter's like in their 30 or 30s or whatever, and she's cursing up a storm in front of her mother. Like, I'm like, who
Hmm.
does
It's
that?
ridiculous.
That's the mentality
Trust
of
me,
your daughter, like you keeping your daughters or you keeping your sons as your friends. Granted,
because they look at them. The daughters look at, or others look at their daughters like that's their sister. You know what I mean? So
It
now
keeps
they
them
they
young.
trust us.
yeah, it
Yeah,
keeps them young.
exactly. Keeps them young, and like you said, they, especially if the daughter, they're at a younger age. They're looking, they're blooming a little quicker. Now they're just in heavy competition. It's like, oh damn, now all the attention to daughter. Now you're competing against your own daughter. It's like it's crazy,
That's
bro.
Put it
crazy.
like this. Put it like this. I've seen men that have their older sons that they're cool with, and you would think like, yo, they're friends. But the minute that boy gets disrespectful in front of them, it's like,
Already.
boy, you better watch who you
Yep.
talking to. Like,
Yep.
Already.
it gets serious real quick. But
0 to 100
yeah,
quick.
you get what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I'll see, like, women are buddy buddy and the one is being disrespectful, and it's like, oh my god, you hear she's talking to her mother? You like, like it's hunky dory, so to speak. So yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
but yeah, like, all I'm saying is, man, if the shoe don't fit, don't wear it. If somebody is like, if somebody even, and here's the thing, even if somebody is like, I follow a lot of YouTubers who I don't agree with,
Mhm.
but even though I don't agree with them, they're going to eventually say certain things that I'm like, wow, I never looked at it from that perspective. Here's the thing, a person that is intelligent will get information no matter where it comes from and apply it. It doesn't mean I got to agree with everything that you say, but there's something that you say that I'm like, let me make a mental note and somewhere I can apply it in my life.
Mhm.
These people are just turning a blind eye. Like, I don't even want to hear what they like. Put it like this. Everybody know, like, men were like Derek Jackson, like, that's, yeah, we don't listen to what Derek Jackson has to say. But every now and then he would say something, and I'm like, okay, I can see where he's coming from. You get what I'm saying? Like, I can see where he's coming from. So it's not that many times that, I had that, but every once in a while, it's like, yo, I heard, okay, I can see where he's coming from with this, so to speak. But yeah, just to turn a blind eye. Like, I was never the person to be like, oh, since this person isn't married or whatever, I can't I can't take what they're saying having weight. Or because this person isn't a don't have a degree in XYZ, I can't pay attention to what they're saying. No, eventually somebody's gonna drop knowledge where it's like, oh snap, I never looked at it that way. Let me put it in the back of my mind and maybe I can apply it, you know? So I
But
don't
you know what it is,
understand what
Walls?
what's up.
You know what it is because for the ones that call into his show again, voluntarily call into his show. Um, they hear everything he says. Times out of 10, almost everything applies to them. It hurts telling it to them directly and like keeping it very, raw and blunt. The problem is they hear him, they're not willing to put in the work. They don't want to change. This is a very lazy generation we live in, very lazy, and they're willing to quit on a dime. Like, this is why relationships don't last long. They're not willing to fight for the relationship, and they don't want to change. They feel like, accept me as I am. You don't like it, too bad. And it's like, what? Again, look at that, how hard it went on that guy. You don't think he changed? Oh, we're hoping, but like, okay,
Wait,
he took that. Like, yeah, he got embarrassed,
wait.
but
Here's
I
the
can
issue
also
with that though.
say
That
that
dude
again.
could. I know he would have been weak, but the issue with that is what they're saying is with him needing credentials and stuff. They
Hmm.
teach you and like they will teach you in psychology that you can't handle it like that. That guy could have went and killed himself because of how hard Kev went at him. Like,
Hmm.
I want people to go that hard because then I feel like, you know what, I'm a loser and I got to do better. That works for me,
Same.
but that may
Me
not
too.
work for
But June,
Uh
whose
huh.
fault is that? That's society's fault with having everybody be PC. Because when we grew up, you could
Yeah.
speak to everybody however, and there wasn't like, I understand some people had like, would go through, deal with mental health and everything like that. But the suicide rate and stuff like that wasn't as high because you had to be rough and tough. People would always come at you, however, like, yo, if you went to school and like was dressing bummy or didn't care how you take care of yourself and stuff like that, you would get cracked on. If you was
Oh
out of shape
yes.
or something like that, you would get cracked on. So what would that make you do? That would make you as
Hmm.
a child in the early stages say, yo, I gotta better myself. You get what I'm
But you're
saying? So
strong. But Walls, you're
yeah,
strong though.
no, but it groomed kids into being stronger as a whole, because it's like, yo, I don't want to get picked on. You get what I'm saying? If it's something that's tackled as a child, it helps you grow up building the thicker skin, so to speak. But if you wait till you're an adult age and stuff like that happens, yeah, it's gonna sting more than if
Let
than
me let
if
me
it happened as a child.
let me say this
Go
though.
ahead, go ahead.
I had two people in my class. A white boy first. I can't say their name, right? Like, he committed
Hmm.
suicide. He used to get bullied by like my friends. They used to bully him, not bully, but like throw snowballs at him on Halloween. Hey, some little things like that. He was a cool kid, kinda, and he ended up committing suicide. He hung himself. Another kid we graduated with, black kid, he jumped in front of a train in Rawway, and someone who worked in my my department, he also jumped in front of a train in Elizabeth. And it's like these people are getting bullied. So what it is they're trying to protect those people that are so weak that will do that. They're harming everything. Like literally everything. Oh, y'all can't hear me?
I can hear. I can hear.
Okay. No, I think they're just trying to protect those people because those people they can't handle bullying. Like yo, we used to crack on them for being Polish, they crack on us for being Haitian, and that's what it was. Like we knew, like, come correct. I got a
I know
baldy,
exactly.
they'd start laughing, and I'm like, I get it, so that's how it just was. So, but
But
it's
you know
different.
what?
It's a different time.
But you got to think about it. You guys went that route in school. I didn't. I went to Catholic school. There was a zero tolerance policy from the gate. There was no cracking on your classmates. There were no hazing. Like those were things that would have automatically got you expelled. I went from Catholic school from first grade through 12th grade. So no, I didn't experience any of that stuff. But then
Oh
on the flip
wow.
side too is you had, on my end, I've never experienced half of the stuff that people talk about. I didn't have people going, "Hey, you're a little chubby kid, and let me talk about you." So, as an adult,
But
like it, you might get that feeling a little differently because if you didn't go through that, then no, you won't know how to handle them circumstances. Now,
but
on the
Erica, here,
flip side,
go ahead, finish it.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'll let you finish your point. I'll say that.
Well, because and that's what I was gonna say. You're talking these schools, went from like first grade through eighth grade. So a lot of times you went to the same school with the same batch of kids, the whole through. You
Mhm.
might have had, filler kids here or there, but you all respected each other because you all lived by the same system in school. You knew what the rules were. You knew if you were outside of those rules, what the ramifications are. The problem is I didn't have, all of this social media stuff affecting how I had to think either. I didn't have to go, oh, I don't see dolls that look like me because guess what? Dolls didn't look like me back in the early 80s and 90s. I didn't have to
Mhm.
worry about, kids being on social media posting craziness and now I got to be held up in my shell. If you're not a
Mhm.
kid that experienced none of that kind of stuff, then yes, as an adult, you may not be able because at that point, that means the adults in your life didn't teach you those life skills. And I'm not saying depression is not for everybody. Depression is out there and it's hard and heavy. Either you be a kid at 6 years old or you be an adult at 36 years old. Depression can hit at any point. If you did not get those coping mechanisms early on, and yes, that's people that go and jump in front of the trains and the people that hang themselves because they don't know how to get out of that reality. And if you're not talking to people and letting them know, hey, these are real things that are happening around me, you're not going to be able to get the help to try to get you back to normal.
Okay,
Like
Rex. Before
it
you
was
chime,
just funny
before
because
you before you chime in, Rex. If anybody want to call in and voice their opinion and everything like that, I just put the link in the chat, so you could click in. You don't got to show your face. You could just talk. Not show your face and join the conversation. Say your point, and you know, so that link is there available. Go ahead, Rex.
no, I was gonna say, but like off what Erica said, because she said you said you went to a Catholic school from grade 1 to 12, and they were pretty strict. So I'm guessing they also had like a dress code and whatnot. And it's funny because me from grade 1 to 8, uh, I was bullied because of the way I was dressed, and I'll explain why. Because I'm Haitian as well, so my mom's thought that the dress code, the way she went to school back in the day, she thought she was gonna
Oh
apply that to
snap.
me like here. So me and my brother, we dressed up like it's like a trend now, but the formal like church fit that everyone would have, like that was me from grade 1 to grade 8, and I got bullied for it. You know what I'm saying?
Rightfully
For
so.
dressed properly. You know what I'm saying? And mind you, this is in a public school, and I'm like, again, I for at first I didn't see the problem, but then I started feeling some type of way because I'm like, yo, I'm getting bullied for this. And again, I don't have an older brother to run to, an older cuz, an OG, nothing. Like it was all me. And my pops wasn't around at the time, so I'm not gonna run to my mom. Mom, I got bullied. I didn't even tell her. She doesn't even know to this day. So like I had to put hands on all of them,
Yeah, yeah,
But it's like it just
But it
just
made you
goes to show you,
tougher
it's like,
though.
yeah, it made me tougher. I'm like, and
That's
I
what
think
it
it was a grade
does.
eight. I was like, listen, that's the end of this. I was like, I had to stand up to the one bully, and that ended right then and there. And please believe, by grade 9 onward, there was no more of that formal dressing business. But I just want you to know,
yeah,
just because and anybody that's from the Caribbean, how they have the school uniforms and stuff. So you would have thought that was me in public school, and I'm like, damn, I'm looking at everybody else. Everybody's dressing jeans, t-shirt, the coolest stuff. Here I am in some khaki joints with a vest with a button up every
yeah.
day from
Oh
grade
yeah, so
one to
This is
you
what
had
eight.
I
my school uniform on then.
this
Okay.
is
Basically,
this is
basically,
this is
I
what I
got
will
most of
say.
it.
This is what I will say. As a kid growing up, no other Caribbean. I know there's sidetrack, but I strongly believe no other Caribbean group got the vitriol and disrespect than Haitians did. Because I can remember growing up, if you said you were Jamaican, if you said freaking anything, people would leave you alone. But the minute you say you were Haitian, they would come for you.
African
And
side, sometimes they did. In my end, sometimes they did.
oh
But Haitian,
yeah, it
yeah,
was
for
yeah.
sure.
And I, I,
Yeah.
I believe I believe there's a theory behind it. You
Mhm.
know, do y'all want to hear my care to hear my theory?
I
Yeah,
think I know, but throw it
Okay.
out. I
I
want to
know
hear
yeah,
it's
it.
yeah.
like this is sidetracking, but I'll try and make it real quick. The reason why I
Hmm.
believe that as a Haitian growing up, you got that vitriol is because I believe the society, government, and everything played into depicting being Haitian as the most negative thing. The reason why is because Haiti was the first Caribbean country to gain its independence. So what it did was it made an example out of Haitians, so they're like the worst thing. Like I said, that's the only country I know that they were enslaved. And then when they conquered their person that enslaved them, they had to pay reparations to that country that enslaved them.
Mhm.
So it
Where
was
they do
pretty
that
much
at?
made, yeah, it was pretty much made to
Right.
make an example out of Haitians, so to speak. And this is how I
Mhm.
know it still goes on to this day. Whenever you see Mexicans, whenever you see Cubans, whenever you see Puerto Rico, all these people show up to America mysteriously. They wait, they put them in a holding area, wait to see what to do with them, all of this stuff. And it's like, okay, we'll let them into the country. When them Haitians popped up in Texas, I promise you, within 72 hours, not even a week, they got rid of them. They evacuated them out of the US. And the sad part about it is that this great America, this great country of America, the reason why it's a superpower that it is indirectly because of Haiti gaining its independence from France. Because once Haiti broke off of France, France was a world power because of all the gold that was in Haiti. So once they lost that connect with Haiti, they had to sell a lot of the parts that they owned in the US to the United States. That's how America became a world power. And then when Haiti was paying reparations to France, guess who was the banker that was moving the money?
Let me
The
guess, USA.
United States of America. So this great country became a world power based off of Haiti and
Mhm.
directly conquering their oppressor. But Haiti is made as an example. And like I said, you see it with the way they deported the Haitians out of Texas ASAP. Everybody else gets to stay in America, have 3 meals, and figure out what they're going to do with them.
They be hating on Mexicans too,
They
because
do, but
Well,
they
yeah,
do,
heavy.
but come on, they
not like
still
hate. I know,
not
not like.
exactly. But
What do you
that's
mean?
kind
And
of
here in Canada, like I don't know about y'all, but in Canada, it was either, because when I say Haitian, it was either one or two things. It was either they always brought up the voodoo business
hmm
or bad bo. Always,
yeah, yeah,
always. And
yeah.
that bothered me for a long time, because I'm like, yo, I
Facts.
know I don't stink, and number two,
Yeah,
I don't even get down with the voodoo stuff. So what are they talking about? That would
exactly,
anger me for like
exactly.
years.
I
So
mean,
yeah,
I
that
may
was
have
like,
known somebody that, but
yeah, well, I don't
you
get
know,
down with it.
Wait,
but But just to get back to the subject of conversation with Kevin Samuels, the thing is, I heard everything that you guys said about somebody being weak minded and every not weak minded, but they might not be able to take criticism the way other people do. I can't apply that to Kevin Samuels because these people know what Kevin Samuels' show is about. They know what his approach is, but they
That,
And
still
they
willingly
voluntarily come
call.
in.
So if
Exactly.
you
They
still willingly
voluntarily.
call, you know what you're getting yourself into. So
oh
I
yeah.
Exactly.
can't I can't I can't hold Kevin Samuels liable for that because they know what they're getting into. It's like
But
if you get with a chick that you know spreads like peanut butter and then you're like, "Dag, man, she played me out." You knew what it was. So
but
what is
Yeah.
there?
he's not like that with everybody though. He be showing love to some of them.
Oh
Where I'm
yeah,
like,
but
Oh yeah.
he
Oh
he
yeah.
he does he does it when the person is face reality of like not trying to not once they see the like once they show
I
accountability,
dig it.
then yes. But a lot of these women don't want to show accountability, so that's when he go in on them because he's like, okay, me talking to you cordial isn't working, so now I'm gonna give you the raw business because he always say I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah.
Hmm.
He always give
And
that
and
disclaimer.
Wait, let
he
me
always
ask,
does say that. Go ahead, Drew. Go ahead, Drew.
let me ask Erica a question for
Mhm.
clarification. How was your father growing up? Like, how was he?
My dad was strict. Like he was the person in the house. Like, for me, my dad was my coach. Like I played sports. My dad was there. My dad said, "Look, you a diabetic, you gotta lose a little bit of weight." He was the one going, "All right, let's go get you the whatever bike you want. You want purple with sprinkle, with little sparklers on it. Fine." So he
Mm.
was that dad who was there for everybody. You talking, I grew up around motorcycles. Guess what? Me and my brother ended up driving motorcycles at one point in time because that was what we knew. We were
But
the
here's the
family
here
that
but
went.
but
That
here's the question though. What did your parents teach you as far as relationships and finding a good man?
So I with my parents, I felt like they were young. So I guess for me, I didn't want to be as young as them. Having kids, you're talking they were 19 and 21. But this was
Mm.
also the early 80s. That was the common time frame where people were, they were in school or finishing up school and having kids and creating families right away. So I grew up in that era. Yes, were there struggles? Of course. Every relationship is going to have your good days and your bad days. But I do feel like my parents shielded me and my siblings from a lot of the excessive stuff. And we saw them working more on, okay, what do we need to do as a family to get by? So like I can remember my mom working days, my dad worked nights, so there was always somebody at the home with us. You're talking, like I said, we did sports. My parents were big on education. So it wasn't just, hey, the girls are focused on education. No, it was everybody's focused on education. They expected good grades. That was our job to go to school, get good grades, become active members of our society. So they fostered relationships. They fostered, hey, working as a partner. They made sure that we had the social skills to go out there. You're talking both girls and boys in the household knew how to cook a little bit. You might not have been able to cook everything, but you knew how to cook a few dishes where could feed a family later on in life.
Okay.
We created budgets early on. It was, hey, you're working, okay, you're gonna put half of your check in the bank and you're not gonna touch it. This is the money that you could utilize to get through the week or get through the month or whatever it is. So like we learned you had to balance and have budgets. You learned, fostering relationships with people around you. Like I worked early on and it was by choice, not by my parents' choice. It was you go to camp or you go to work. I decided I wanted to go to work instead of camp. So then it was like, okay, well, you got your summer job. That meant you need to make sure you set your alarm, make sure you talk to either me or your mother who gonna get you back and forth to work. So like they made sure that there was open communication. There was no
There you go.
I'm your friend. No, I'm your parents. These are things that you're going to be expected to do once you finish high school. You got to be able to balance a checkbook. You got to be able to cook. Those are all things that I feel like people are losing that set of skills too. I'm not saying just being out there being fast and on the streets. No, those were not things that I grew up with. Matter of fact, people laugh, but I had a curfew until I was over 25 at one point. You lived at home. Those are rules that you had to deal with. I was home. I went to school. I worked. I decided I was going to stay home. My parents weren't the type of parents go, oh, well, you're 18 and you're out. No, it was, well, what's your plan? And let's figure out what the next steps are. Not all the times do people have parents that foster those relationships. Because
So
yes,
Gotcha.
I worked a decent job at 19 years old. I worked for a bank at the time. You're talking, I made decent money working at the bank, but I also, was still going to school. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna utilize the income that's coming in, from my job to help me pay for school. That took some of the plate off of my parents. I had parents that were supportive, but I didn't want to use them up either because for me, I was an active member of my society. These are skills that you put on me growing up, so I felt like those are things that I had to do
K
when I was
Saeed
getting older.
asked you a question.
Case I no, I'm not Haitian. I'm actually American, born and raised. Both my parents born and raised in the U.S. as well.
All
Oh,
right.
really?
So
Even that's news to me too. I ain't gonna lie.
yeah.
I thought you were too.
All right. So
But that
so
last name is a married last name. That's why it looked a little suspicious to y'all.
Oh,
all
that
right.
does.
So being the fact that we're getting into like we approaching that hour, we didn't get a chance to get into what we was gonna do or whatever. I guess I could ask you guys like, would y'all? I know y'all said y'all was gonna do the lives on Wednesday, only Wednesdays going forward. Did y'all want to do an improv live on Monday just to cover the topics that we wanted to cover, or nah, it's out of the cards?
I could do it. I'm saying that's up to you, Rex.
Yeah, I could do it. I
All
could
right.
do it.
So the topics that we was also gonna cover, we'll cover that Monday. But I kind of wanted to dedicate this live, to Kevin Samuels and everything like that. Before we do, man, I gotta play this again because that joke was hilarious to me.
Huh?
You have a big dick?
I mean, it's above average. I ain't no
It's
Ron
above,
Jeremy
no,
or
no, no,
nothing.
no, no, no. I asked you if you had a big dick. I didn't say it was above average.
It's really.
Nigga, you know if you got a big dick or not. Stop the bullshit. Every dude know whether or not he got a big dick. I know I got a big dick. You don't know?
I mean,
You don't have a big dick. That's the point. You don't have a big dick. You don't have a big wallet. You a fat dude. And you got a lot of nerve thinking you should get choosing singles at 5'10" and 300 pounds, making less than $1,000 a month at 20 years old. And women should approach you. What they get, they don't even get a big dick.
Yo, listen. I just
Yeah.
want to throw this out there. I want to throw this out there for the ladies. I want y'all to know, the ones that did listen to Kevin Samuels. Listen, when I was watching him heavy, that I hear how he talks to y'all. Yes, it's he is saying what he's got to say. You may come off as a little too direct or whatnot because I'm always hearing it's his tone. His tone. I just want you to know he was going light on y'all, light,
Mm-hmm.
compared to how I
Yes.
heard him talk to men. He was going
Yes.
real light on y'all. I know it
Put
may
it like
not sound like it's light, but I'm
yo.
telling you, he was going
Put it like
light.
put it like this. That clip right there was probably more savage than anything I heard that he said to women.
Yeah.
Because everybody know, like, yo,
Yeah.
you basically said the man had a little D. You said
No
he was
paper.
fat as hell,
Yeah. No
make no money,
Mm-hmm.
and then like, yo, why should a woman step to you? They ain't even getting a like, yo, that right there
Like
is like, yo,
you know what I mean? That's just
yo,
like
he went in. He went in.
He
it's like you
violated him.
assassinate your own character.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you know what
yeah,
I'm
he
saying?
definitely like because here's the thing. Even though the stuff he'll say to women, whatever, people will still shoot their shot and stuff like that. After what he said to that man, what would entice a woman to speak to like want to get with him?
He's
Honestly,
his confidence is in the gutter now.
Erica P. After hearing
if
that, right? Erica P. Because I want a woman's perspective. After hearing that, what would make a woman want to step to him?
Okay, so you said that this guy was 20 years old. You have to look at the population of women that are in that 20-year-old age bracket. They're not doing the best in their lives either. Think about it. Most
Oh
people
wow.
graduate high school at 18 and 19 years old. So if you graduate high school between 18 and 19, that mean that kid don't have no work experience. So $1,000 a month is probably what he has at the moment, because what else are you getting without them 3 to 5 years work experience? Without you going to college to get that that educational experience, so you can come out of college and potentially get that job. You're not even old enough to finish and go get a truck driver license. You gotta be
Okay,
21.
okay. So
She would bag him. She
what
said she would
So
bag
that's
him.
what
woman
I'm
would
saying.
be interested?
But that's what I'm saying. People that are in his age bracket would back him. Because guess what? They don't have nothing to show for it. To grow together. You can't just look at him like he's going to be stagnant.
Stuff like that.
So you're
Correct. But what I'm
saying, you're saying, as much as
Hey.
women value the D in size, they're gonna be like, "Yo, yeah, we're gonna bag this dude."
at 20 years old, you don't know what. A lot of times, a 20-year-old don't know what they're looking for yet.
See,
Most
here-
20-year-olds are not that experienced.
That's a good
So
point.
you
That's a
don't
good
know if
point.
he know if that's
That's
big
true.
or not. They may not.
That's,
I agree.
You got some 19-year-olds who ain't
that's
smashing.
a good
So if
point.
they
I,
not
I gotta
they may
disagree.
not know.
I gotta disagree. I don't.
I don't know.
It's
Oh,
very
go ahead.
rare a 19-year-old or 21-year-old woman would not have experience, because women will experiment sexually way earlier than a man, because women are more like, they get more, they're more adult minded earlier than men. They mature earlier than men. But
They mature earlier, yes. But what I'm saying is, you get a lot of a lot of people in that early age category. If they didn't start college at 17 or 18, they may not be. If you got people that's home that didn't leave outside of the house, where are you smashing at? Think about it. If you ain't got no car and you ain't got no money, and you're gonna deal with the guys that's in that area, guaranteed. They probably
That's back
the
in.
same
That's
boat
back.
you.
That's back. That's
yeah,
No,
I
but
think you're
I'm not saying.
I think you're thinking warped. The reason why I think you're thinking warped is because those women who would like look towards him, they would have to have a specific desire to be with a big guy, so to speak. The average person is not looking for that, especially at 18, 19 years old, because the average dude at 18 or 19, most of them are in shape,
But
because that's when you're more
is
active and everything like that.
What schools are you talking about? Because guess what? I drive past high schools, going to go get my kid from school. All these kids is not coming out being itty bitty skinnies. You have big kids that look like grown adults walking out of schools now.
At 5'7", 300 pounds. So you're saying that there's more boys at
You act
19,
like
20 walking. What I'm saying is, you're saying that there's more people in the population walking around at 5'7", 300 pounds, as opposed to being.
He didn't say
being
5'7". It was
Not-
5'10". It was
5'10",
5'10", 300 pounds.
But
And
still,
guess
the
what?
bottom line is,
5'10", 300 pounds mean you could potentially be football player size. And you got, think about it. You said 20.
but
And
that's
then
not
he
what.
might have.
But see, now you're bringing other dynamics. We're not talking about football. We're talking about this guy. This guy.
Correct.
Why,
And what I'm
why
saying
would
is
a woman have put?
Correct.
why
I
would
don't know what
women-
he looked like.
But what I'm saying is, if there's other, if this guy goes to a college, whatever, right? Why would the women in the college pick him as opposed to the other options, so to speak?
His game.
Because
bro, I was
he
just
could
about to
be
say,
nice.
either his
He could be a nice
swag
person,
or-
and if he's a nice person, you get play. If you're
Big boys
guess what?
get girls
He's-
too, cuz.
I'm about to say, big boys.
Yeah,
One,
bro.
do
Listen,
get girls.
so-
Two,
Are
guess
you
what? If
kidding
he's
me?
on a college campus and he's in school, guess what? They're looking at his potential going forward. You may be
Bruh,
bringing in
I've
that
seen-
$1,000 right now, but you're a broke college student like I am. Guess what? What's your major? You
big
don't
dudes,
know.
big dudes may get
Wow.
play, but all the things they said this guy has,
No,
a
I
little
know.
D, overweight, and make
But-
$1,000 a month, dude.
But they,
you
but-
mean
Straight out of high school,
Walls,
though.
Walls, I have seen big dudes, and I would never think in a million years that they would get played like that. But because they had the confidence and they had a
Bagging
bit of swag, bruh, and they had some little game to them, bruh, I seen them bagging chicks all the time. I don't know
Word
what's
is
going
bond.
on with these guys, but bruh, I seen it, bruh, and I'm like,
And it
what?
also
Listen,
depends on where
what
they at
I'm
too.
saying is,
Think about it. You can always say that.
Wait. All I'm saying is he had to have one of the three. He had to
Yeah,
have one of the three, not
for
none
sure.
of the three. This is a guy that
No,
has
he had.
none of the
I
three.
agree. He had to one of the
None
three,
of the three. Come
but
on, man. Like,
mostly
come
the
on.
confidence one.
No.
he could act like
The,
he
the
have it
confidence
though.
one definitely. The confidence one
But reality
definitely.
comes in. Reality comes into the picture though, where it's like, okay, when it comes down to it, let me see what you're working with. When it
See,
comes
but
down to it, let
Yeah.
me see what
but
you're
think
working.
about it. You're thinking on a man's logic. You got to think women logic. Women logic. You may not always be looking for the D. You may be looking for, okay, what's potential? Because you do have people early on that will go. You know what? He clean up nice though. It don't matter that he's 300 pounds. Can you dress? Come on. I might like that shape because you got some women who gravitate to the chubby chasers.
Look,
They
I hear
do.
I hear
And like I
everything.
said, you're
I hear
talking 20 years
I
old.
hear
I
I
have to look
hear
at you like you just came out of school. I
look,
can't look at you like you a 30-year-old man with no
look.
prospects. I just have
e-
to think that you're going to progressively get better over time.
Everything that you said sounds nice, but with the way a lot of these women nowadays think with getting the bag and all this stuff, and the guy doesn't have all three, I think it's hard for a woman to look for that dude. Hey, if a woman do, trust me,
Nowadays.
it's like they're not flocking
Nowadays,
to
yeah.
him. They're not
But you're
flocking to him. Not
But you're
mm.
discounting
True,
regular
but
women. That's the problem. Y'all keep saying the bag, the bag. Guess what? That's a small population of women. That's not everybody. Those are
Look,
your people on social media and that kind of stuff. Every female that's in his area, you don't even know where he at. He could be in New York City. New York City, he ain't getting no play. But guess what? Let him be out in Nebraska somewhere
how
where
is
the male
how if he's
population is
broke,
smaller.
how is he getting to Nebraska?
But guess
If
what?
he look,
Him being broke never said that his family ain't got no money. You just asked him what he doing. You never asked for the background story. So you don't know. I might be broke, but I might be driving my parents' car and floss it. I may be broke, and guess what? That
that
$1,000
that
ain't gotta pay
see
nothing to go
that
towards
makes
rent.
that makes sense until that same dude called his show again and was like, yo, you really
again,
made me get my life together, yada. Yes, that's why I said he improved himself. You
Correct.
really
But you
made
will
me
tell
get
me
my
based
life
off of this
together.
clip though.
No,
I don't know
but
what happened
I
after that
said
clip.
that earlier. I said he made Kevin Samuels when he did that, made him. I said men hear that stuff and they improve. This individual heard Kevin Samuels say that and improved and actually thanked them like, yo, you made me get my life better. You made me lose weight. You made me devise a plan how to get money and start making money. Yo, I was a piece of crap back then. He literally said that. So that's what I'm saying. This guy, I don't see anything that is enticing that would make a woman look his way after hearing that clip. I
let's see.
understand it
That's the
sounds all
difference. Though.
hunka dory, but if I was a chick and I heard that clip, you don't got nothing for me.
But that's the difference. The difference is he was willing to put in the work.
Yes,
Some of
I
those,
know.
that are calling into Kevin Samuel's show, and mind you, they know the truth. They don't want to put in the work. That's the difference. They don't
No,
want to put in the work.
no, I get that, but the whole premises of it was he said worse to men, and the point I was trying to make is the
Mhm.
stuff that he says to women, guys will still be willing to shoot their shot. It's not too many women that would be willing to shoot their shot at this
I see what
guy
you're saying.
after
Yeah,
what
oh, like
yeah, I
Kevin
see
that.
what you
Samuels
mean.
said.
That's
Oh,
different. I
That's
get
what
hands
I'm
that.
down.
saying.
But
No,
that's
women ain't shooting their shot.
me though.
Explain to me in general. Think about it. All y'all grown. How many women
Here we
really
go.
came to you in your younger life and asked you on a date, asked to take you out? And I'm not talking in your 30s. I'm talking in your early 20s. When you ain't had nothing, where you trying to figure out what you doing after high school.
That's a good point.
Because guess
The
what? That
women
was the
would come
place.
up.
See, the women would come up, but like I wouldn't say come up every now and then they'll come up, but I had to go after the women. They weren't, like
Exactly.
coming for me. So that's what I'm saying. So, but yeah.
But like
But
I
they're not
said,
gonna check
I'm
for him.
thinking about it. He's 20 years old. So like I said, it's one or two things. Either the ones that's checking for him in this day and age are the ones that gravitate to that body shape and that's what they like. So then it's insert dude here and then we're gonna figure out the rest of it.
like
The
I
other
think they
thing,
strategic,
gonna holler at him though.
like strategic said in his live earlier. Shout out to strategic. Now you're putting him in the realm of a niche. So when you put him in the realm of a niche, you just basically put a cap on the amount of women that would be available for him
correct,
at
but
the
like
end of
I'm
the day.
saying, but he's also 20. He don't. I'm like, you got a handful of 20-year-olds that have a plan and know exactly what they doing, but you got some people who get to their mid 20s to figure out, you know what, this is where I want my life to go. He still had time, so you can't just be like, oh, well, people ain't checked him. It's not the fact that people not checked him.
You
Maybe because he's
but
still young.
you're bringing another dynamic into it. You're saying he still have time. We're talking about based off what he was said by Kevin Samuels and what Kevin Samuels say to women. Dudes would still check for the women more than women would check for him. You're bringing
Oh, that's
other
a
Correct.
dynamics
fact.
Correct.
into it.
But
Correct. That is a
That's
fact.
what it comes
Yes.
down
That's a
to.
what I
fact.
was what I was saying though, that that just goes for, that's just like hypergamy. Women don't go down. They go either in the same level as them or higher. We have no problem going to a woman that's below us.
No,
Like
I get that.
that's,
No,
you know what I'm saying.
definitely.
So that's
I agree
why.
with you. But what I'm saying is he just basically made it harder for him.
But Walls,
That
with what you're
Oh yeah,
saying, but wait, what Walls? With
yeah.
what you're saying, that's the issue that women have is he put them in niches because he'll say they don't want single mothers, which is true. But now most guys thinking, oh, I can't be with a single mother because I heard Kev Samuel say that. So I'm not even thinking about a single mother because they're gonna call me a simp. They're gonna clown me. That happened also, and that's an issue they have with him. He
but
put
here's the
them in a
thing, June.
niche.
But here, June,
Uh huh.
Here's the thing, though. Why did Kevin Samuel say that, though? Because that's what men thinks, and it's just
Yeah,
men
that's
didn't
a
have the
fact.
ball. Men didn't have the balls to say it. So why do you think men appreciate him so much? Because men know. Put it like this: you got this man died, right? You got
Mm-hmm.
people basically rejoicing that he's dead. And some people don't even know him from a can of paint. And
It's
Word.
these
pathetic.
women don't like him. So imagine if you're at a workspace and a woman don't like you, what measures she might go through just to get you fired or make your life a living hell. So why would these men even want to step up and say anything that might get them? Because when we look at it, S harassment at workspace, 9 times out of 10, companies are gonna believe what women say off the rip. So why are you gonna say something that's gonna basically might get you in trouble, make you lose your job, or whatever the case may be, just because you
Because
want to speak
brother,
your mind? But
because now,
that's why men appreciated Kevin Samuels because he's saying what men wanted to say to women for years and they couldn't.
and he's
That's
also
true.
letting you know, listen, like, oh, now it's they're happy he's gone because like, or they were upset that he was around because like, oh, what, all of a sudden these dudes that were either like simps or just would just get a woman for just whatever. Oh, I'm now got standards. It's like, you know what I mean? Because women have standards. Us with anything that just walks on 2 feet will smash. But now he's like, oh, y'all need to have
But but
standards for
but but
yourself.
but
More
but check
respect.
this out though. Check this out
Now they
though.
mad.
Check this out though. How many women who didn't really have standards all of a sudden got standards when they were listening to Derek Jackson, when they were listening to Steve Harvey, when they were listening to
Oh
all these other
yeah,
people who were
for
doing
The
that?
whole
sure.
world.
But we
The
get
world.
one guy. We get one guy.
Because of Kevin,
We
now they
get
all want a high value man. They don't even respect
exact.
regular average men. Like
Yeah.
it's
So
hilarious, it's
Well, and
comical.
that's
so
yeah, I agree with your point because you have to think about it. The ones who had values, you knew were a segment on their own. It
Hmm.
was the ones that were out there running the streets young, having
Mhm.
kids young. Then it's like, oh, well, I deserve. No, well, you don't deserve. And I'm not saying you don't deserve because that's what you was doing. It's like, no, you need to work for what you have. You want to
Mhm.
secure the bag, but did you learn any skills in the meantime? No. Did you, while you was out there playing, did you decide you was going to get up and go and get an education? No. Okay. Did you learn how to cook? No. Like these are things that to to most women I feel like are minimal steps that you do because you got to survive. I'm like, what am I going to eat out every day? You start looking at them bills and you be
That's
like,
what I'm
dag,
saying.
but think about it. You start looking at some of that stuff. You're like, yo, I spend $600 a month on eating out. Maybe I need to learn how to cook a dish or two. It's going to save me a couple dollars. But people don't think like that now. It's instant. I want instant. I want to order food on DoorDash because it's going to be at my house in less than 30 minutes. So if you
Hmm.
have that, it's like, well, what as a female are you bringing to the table? We've had tons of relationship conversations. We already know most guys aren't looking at degree. Does degree help? Yes. Does her bringing in money help? Yes. But is it taking it takes some stress off of the guy that you're with? Yes. But is that the end all be all? No. So my thing is, yes, I'm coming in. I want to be a partner, but if you don't know how to do partner roles, or you don't know how to be his balance, going, hey, he's really good at doing X, Y, and Z, but A, B, and C, he don't get with flying colors. If you can't step in and do A, B, and C, why am I checking for you? And it doesn't matter if you have a kid or not at this point. If you have the kid, okay, do I want to come in and be instant family? Those are things that guys have to think about. You already got the stigma with, hey, you're somebody's baby mother. Now I got to come in and raise your kid. Now I got to deal with this too. So as a
Mm.
woman, if you're coming in with baggage, you need to figure out, how am I going to make it work? Because if you didn't make it work with the person you had the kid with, what makes you think you may or may not be able to make it work with the next person? Because you
Hmm.
got
And
to think about it. A lot of times when you listen
Hmm.
to Kevin Samuel's show, he's asking these women, "Did you have time to? Why didn't you? Oh, you was with this dude for 8 years and you decided to call it quits. Why did you call it quits?" A lot of times people
exactly.
don't ask themselves those questions. So yes, like you said, he does come harder on the men than the women, hands down. He handled a lot of the women on his show with kid gloves. But then on the flip side, it's like you get the a handful of women that know that the information that he's telling these people wasn't for them, and then they still come for his juggler, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
It, it's
Because if
it's
you
and
know
it's go ahead,
it
Jeff.
didn't work for you, why are you saying something?
And I think it's also what plays a part is I seen that too. It's like, you know, for the longest time, single mothers thought, to them listening to the show, like they didn't have a chance out here. And he's like, no, you have a chance. It's just now you got to work 10 times harder than the 10, 20 younger version of you that's childless, that's in
But they don't want to
competition
hear
with
that.
you.
Also
But they don't want
have
to hear
realistic expectations, and also have realistic expectations. You feel me?
that. And more times he would even encourage uh, um, them to go back to their child's father if they're not in a relationship, the child's
True.
father relationship. He'd actually encourage that. But 9 out of 10 didn't, they weren't trying to hear that either.
All right.
Or they're like, nah.
So,
Some of them are like, yeah, I'll try, but
all right. So before we wrap this up, I just want to tackle the comment
it
section.
is what it is. Oh, can you
BSP,
guys hear
thanks
me?
for
Oh,
coming through.
of course.
BSP.
I
I
think
haven't seen
messing
you
up
before,
again.
but so thank you for coming through. He said,
What else is new?
I. He
Can y'all
said,
hear me?
I. Yeah, we hear you. He says, I yeeted from a chat room for criticizing their celebration of Kevin Samuels passing. And K Saeed said, BSP, you are the only adult in the chat room. So he said, K Saeed, for real, the moment I voiced my opinion in the chat, first thing they did was to shame my looks. They called me a pale skinned ape. Like that's bananas, man. Like, okay, so before we end this
Mm.
live, what are you guys take as far as like the disrespect that's going on with Kevin Samuels? Final take, the disrespect that people have. Well, I'll let Rex is back in. All right. So Rex, like we're about to close the show, whatever. We went through some of the comments and everything like that, where a guy said he went in a chat room. BSP said he went in a chat room and shamed people for being disrespectful to Kevin Samuels, and they basically cracked on him, like shamed him, talking about his skin and called him an ape and all this stuff like that. So before we wrap this up, what are you guys' final thoughts on people being very disrespectful to this man who is no longer with us. Who want to go first? I think he's having
I'll go
issues again.
first. All right. So I feel like in general, I feel like if you don't have nothing nice to say, I'm gonna tell you just leave your comments to yourself at this point. He's no longer here. He can't defend himself at all. So it's like, why are you still bad mouthing him? At this point, you're not gonna see his videos anymore. You don't have to listen. You acting like this is not a platform that you can't just shut it off or move on to the next video. So that's what I'm like, I don't understand why people are rejoicing and, you know, bad mouthing him. Like, that is ridiculous to me that you, because somebody has an opinion different from yours, you have to talk bad about them. Like, that's not cool.
Okay, before we go to the next person, K Saeed, this comment is so true. He said, back in the day when me and my boys heard of a chick that had kids, we'd be like, well, at least she's effing. That wasn't wife material. That was a smash session.
That's true. That's 100.
Then he said, back then those women were humble. Now they think we're lucky to have their attention. Yo,
True.
K Saeed, that's true though. Like
It is
as
true,
like, yo, as people, some people may find it disrespectful, but that is so true. The way a man looked at it, like, yo, like for the longest, the running joke was if you want to get a woman that's smashing, go to an abortion clinic. That's proof they're
Hmm.
effing or whatever. But okay,
Wow.
who want to give their next thoughts on what they think as far as like people being disrespectful with the death of Kevin Samuel? Who want to go next?
Rex, you could hold it.
Like final thoughts.
I'll
Listen,
say I
oh, go ahead, June.
I,
I can't even
I
hear you,
think
but June, you go ahead. I have to listen to it on my computer.
Okay, that's fine.
My stuff's just
I,
glitching crazy. But go ahead, June.
I think well, I almost lost my thought. I think they're I think maybe they're just hurt. I don't get it. I feel like misery love company, and they were waiting for something bad to happen to him. It's like, yes, it happened, and it's like they can't even sit back and think like, yes, he was saying things that may have been hurtful to people you don't even know. Like, yeah, you may fit in that category, but he was trying to help. So it kind of sucked. It's like I feel bad for my son. You're not going to have no chance because women can't correct women. Nobody can correct anybody. So it's just sad where we're at. We're at a place where you can't say anything.
Go ahead, Rex.
Um, Basically, it's I don't know, man. It's just sad that uh, people have to resort to uh, having negative comments on something on someone that passed away and can't even defend himself, right? So it's like it just says a lot about you as a person. Shows you have no character, no integrity, um, lack of respect. Again, you don't even have any respect for the man's family. You know what I mean? If you don't like the person, and I know a few people um, that have said they weren't fond of Kevin or didn't agree with everything they said, but they did not once bash him. They gave their condolences. They you know sent prayers to his family. You know what I mean? They're like, listen. Some of them even went as far as to like uh, 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 give him like praise on what he did in terms of where he started to where he was now and what he's accomplished. So and again, these are people that don't even rock with him, but you have people that don't even, and mind you, some of them know him, and maybe relationship went left or whatever, and you have people that don't even know this man going hard at him like you knew him, right? And then it's just like, if you have nothing to say, don't even say anything. Like, why even opening your mouth or writing
Mm.
anything?
Yeah,
Like,
facts.
again, it's showing very, very. It just shows you have terrible character. And again, final thoughts. You are proving him right. Everything that he said, you are proving that man right. That's
All right.
it.
For me, man, the way I look at it, like people who are saying negative things to this man at, a time like this, man, honestly, I feel like these people are despicable. That's just my opinion. For you to literally say this to a man who basically died, like a time that his loved ones are mourning and stuff like that, you're despicable. And I guarantee you, if the shoe was on the other foot, if it was their loved ones, they would have a serious problem
Hmm.
with the things that people are saying. And like Rex said, man, you basically made them right. Um, at the end of the day, I think that a lot of people got like their priorities wrong, where they'll defend people who are known criminals, like career criminals. Because you could have reformed criminals and stuff. I'm talking career criminals. You'll have people glorifying them when something bad happened. They feel sympathy for them. All this stuff.
True.
But here's a man, like I said in the video I posted. He wasn't poisoning our community by selling drugs. He wasn't R-ing anybody, and the word R rhymes with ape. He wasn't shooting people, shooting up clubs, none of that. His whole purpose was to bring people together. Yeah, you may not like the way his delivery was, but the message at the end of the day was very powerful. So with that being said, man, to all the detractors, and I know it's a lot of women that basically, s- basically are, saying negative things about him. And I honestly feel like the guys who are chiming in on it, like on social media, when a woman post about him or something like that, I honestly think they just trying to follow the bandwagon to get some cheeks or whatever the case may be. That's
Absolutely.
just
Most
how I
likely,
look
yeah.
at it. They just trying to, and
Sucker too.
that's what men do. Men will say whatever just to act like they got a stance on something, just to try and like win the woman over and get some cheeks, possibly. You
A
get what I'm saying?
hundred.
So yeah, him, those type of guys, you're the problem too. So like
Yes.
100%.
Kevin Samuels always say, those mother effers who are disrespectful to this man, I hope you buy a cat, buy a dog, buy a fish, whatever it is, and die alone. Because in
Yep.
my mind, you're a piece of crap for you to rejoice in somebody's death. I could understand if it was a person who was like murdering people, stuff like, yeah, I get it. But this is not who this person was. So F you and keep it pushing. And if you subscribe to the channel, it is what it is. You want to unsubscribe, it is what it is. I don't need people like that will be disrespectful when a person dies. I don't need subscribers like that. So keep it pushing.
And we don't rock with that either over here. Hold
Exactly.
up, hear me out
Yeah.
though.
So
So if
keep
you
it
want to,
pushing.
y'all can bounce too.
Exactly. So with that being said, yo, this was a very good live, guys. I love guys and gals. I love this conversation that we had. It definitely went longer than we did. Erica P, now you see how lives can go longer than expected. So with that being said, man, all right, so yeah, we'll look to try and do this on Monday again to cover the topics that we wanted to, but we couldn't get to it. But we felt like this was a very important topic for us to cover. Everybody that tuned into this live, appreciate you guys sticking by us. Definitely hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if it's your first time here. You could have been anywhere, but you was here rocking with us on a Friday night. Damn, a Friday night too. That's the move that ass type night. You get what I'm saying? Where you could be chilling, riding some buns or something. But yeah, you
Yes,
here with us,
sir.
and we appreciate it 100%.
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
So with that being said, rest in peace, Kevin Samuels, the
Rest in peace,
Godfather.
Kevin.
My
Rest in peace.
condolences to the family. I'm sorry that the mother had to hear it through social media.
Mm,
She didn't hear it, first through family members and stuff like that. So
mm,
I know that can be disheartening. And then hearing the comments that people are saying. So my
mm.
apologies to the few ignorant people out there, but my condolences to the family, and
Absolutely.
I hope you definitely find closure in this time of need. With that
Yes.
being said, People definitely subscribe to Matter of Opinion. Subscribe to Hold Up, Hear Me Out though. Every Friday, 8:15, and definitely check their lives every Wednesday at 8:15. And with that being said, hey, thanks for rocking with us. Like Russell Simmons always say, God bless y'all. Thanks for coming out. Have a good night.
Mhm.
With that being
Peace out,
said, we
y'all.
out, ladies and gentlemen. Catch you guys on the
Peace.
next one.